Don't bring up that.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Smashi Business Show. Today is 27th of Feb. It's a Thursday. I am Abdul Majid Awan.
And I'm Richard Fitzgerald. Good morning, Majid.
Good morning, Rich. It's a very busy morning. There's a lot of big things happening. Qatar Airways recently got a green light for 25% of stake in Virgin Australia. We recently just did this story. But the main stories for today are majority owned by PIF. PIF nearly owns 66% in Lucid Motors, and their CEO has stepped down. And he stepped down because they couldn't reach the sales target. They did good sales last year, but still not the target. UAE has a very hot pipeline. There's a lot of announcements coming, mostly from
IPOs.
Abu Dhabi. So we'll give you a whole list of what's been announced, what is being potentially announced, and that. And lastly, E&D shares have jumped. They've gone from 16 point something to 17.18. Yesterday they closed at 17.18, and it's because of a deal. They got 2.2 billion for Khazna data center stake sale, and they've sold it to G42. So it's a very complicated thing, but we'll try to explain it to you as we go on in the show.
You know, often when we say there's a lot going on, usually we're talking about events, but listen to those stories. Like, take a moment and think about how dynamic the region is becoming in terms of investments, in terms of capital markets, in terms of everything. It's fascinating. There's a lot happening.
The interesting thing is that it's those Emirati companies who are selling stuff to each other. They're buying from each other. They're selling to each other. So that makes it a little more interesting that it's just business deals going on between
in the region. And, you know, again, you could look at that negatively. You could say, you know, buying from one hand and selling to another, it's all owned by the government. But that's not really it. Like, if companies sell to each other in Europe or in India or in US, it's just seen as of liquidity, of transparency, of deals getting done, and there are deals getting done. You know, the first thing you mentioned about Qatar Airways, you know, that's obviously, we've seen that before, but the story that we want to talk to is about Lucid Motors. And, you know, if you go to, I've had the pleasure of spending some time in Red Sea, but also often at FII, and I'd always see the Lucid car there. You know, the Red Sea cars are either Lucid or electric Mercedes, and you know, Lucid is a car. I think the numbers, when they reported their numbers, they last year, the last quarter, they did ship 3,300 units. So it's not that they're not moving, and you know, our story did say they're in disarray, and you know, yes, but it does show the pressure on these CEOs. It's not a job for life. If you don't perform, not knowing, you know, obviously the individual is talented and can achieve the job, but it shows the nature of being held to account. And if you're the CEO of a listed company in the US or in any market and you don't perform and your price goes down, but it's also the same even if you're backed by PIF, a $1 trillion sovereign wealth fund. If you're not performing, it's not a cushy role. I think people sometimes think, oh, I'm getting a job in Saudi, whether it's a footballer or someone with Aramco, that's a job for life, that's me set. No, you have to perform because there's expectation here. They're building a huge factory, and they renamed the King Abdullah Economic City around, they created a motor center there, a district just for creating motors. And Lucid is a key part of that. We talked yesterday, the day before Majid in Qatar, we talked about Miyashi-san and the Vision Fund. And, you know, I think the Lucid investment may have come out of that initially. So Saudi backed Lucid instead of backing Tesla, Elon Musk, because they wanted their own. And obviously they have a car called Seer. They have a brand called Seer, C-E-R. But like Lucid, you know, for all intents and purposes, Saudi want their BYD, Saudi want their own brands that are, you know, either joint ventures or partnerships that are being made in Saudi with Saudi jobs. And, you know, we see ALAT, A-L-A-T, doing massive joint ventures to be electronics and manufacturing hub with the likes of Lenovo. And that's the same what's happening here. This is massive joint ventures to produce cars in Saudi. Cars have not been produced in the desert before. This is an attempt to do that.
And Lucid was, I guess, the first company to set up a complete A to Z production unit. And this guy, the interesting thing about Rawlinson, the whole name is Peter Rawlinson, he's been there since 2013. So he's had a long run trying to, they also pivoted from their original name and then became Lucid. I think in 2018, they got their first $1 billion from PIF. And then they got, in 2024, 1.5 more because they were nearly going bankrupt. But even with the money coming in, they're not up to the mark. The sales numbers that we saw was 6,001 cars in 2023 and 10,241. So it's like 4,000 more EVs that they've sold. And I think this is not the target that Saudi was looking for, and that is why this person stepped down. But the funny thing was, the role that he has taken is actually, there's a board member group. So the chairman of the board, he is now the advisor to him. So he's still somehow connected there. And he's getting a $2 million payout, according to Semaphore, for being an advisor to the now chairman of the board. So it's interesting that this guy transitioned from this role, but he couldn't deliver in sales targets.
Is he the global CEO?
No, he was, he was the global CEO. We have a Middle East CEO as well. He's an Indian guy. He's usually there at all these events. He was there at FII8. I saw him in the speakers list, and most probably he was at Leap as well. I completely forgot his name, but he's the guy who is the Middle East head. But this is the global CEO. So let's see, most probably, I think PIF will back it to the end. It's not the end for them. They were nearly solvent. They were nearly going bankrupt, but 1.5 billion was poured in again in 2024. I think they'll survive. They'll maybe somehow create a market for themselves. And as you said, they're already using those cars at Ritzy. I think they have demand, which they are trying to fulfill.
Yeah.
Most probably the sales will go up. Interestingly, this guy was also related to Tesla. Yeah. So in the story, Semaphore said that Elon Musk tries not to credit him for the original Teslas because he was there, he was also working with them. Well, so yeah, again, everything is so much connected in this region.
Automotive has the automotive history in the region is strong. Whether it's King Faisal back in the day with his Fords, or how people drive their Nissan Patrols or their Land Cruisers, and then obviously luxury cars are a lot, but never had a locally produced Arab car per se. There might have been some attempts. We've seen that a Volvo truck was produced in Qatar.
Recently.
There's also Lebanon produced a car, and Lucid itself looks like the luxury one. It's a bit like Lexus or Infiniti or this sort of like premium EV type, but I imagine like everyone's making their own cars. Like Volkswagen have EVs, so do Mercedes, so do Audi. Everyone's got their EVs. So let's see. Like it's obviously coming up. Like the BYD, in Asia, the number of these cars, and there are growth metrics towards vision. UAE has committed to number of electric vehicles on the roads. I remember talking to the GM of Uber for the region during Ramadan, actually, in the pyramids in Egypt last year during an event that they had. And he talked about what their metrics were and where they were going with this. So we do see it happening. We do see it growing. You see RTA Teslas on the road here. You see more electric chargers everywhere. So, I mean, if this is Saudi's bet on electric vehicles, it wouldn't bet against it.
Yeah. Moving on, we have a lot of IPOs that were announced or that are potentially being reported about. The very first and the biggest one that I saw was an international holding company, which is chaired by
IHC, Ward was talking about them yesterday. So this is ADX specifically. IHC are already obviously listed. What are they listing now?
They're listing two of their companies. So there's an investment arm 2.0. They're preparing for a potential listing. And
this is the one that we talked about yesterday, who announced the 1 billion fund for...
IHC have announced 1 billion fund for SMEs, and if you're an individual who is like mid-tier, middle class or like lower middle class, and you need some kind of financial help, but you've been in the region for long.
Yeah, so it's like a fintech basically to give you help with funds. So 2.0 is going to list, and what else is listing?
2.0 is going to list. It has apparently 100 billion asset base, so they're moving for that. ADIJ, which is the Abu Dhabi Investment Group, and I was just looking at it. There's a founder who was the cousin of the founding father. He made ADIG, and they're also listing two their financial and energy subsidiaries.
So more IHC subsidiaries listing in Abu Dhabi. Yeah, it's a hot IPO market. We know that Etihad are going out soon.
Yeah. Etihad, Reuters reported that this week we will get the very first announcement. Maybe they'll open it with the banks, and we will soon be able to invest in Etihad. The stake is, I think they're trying to raise at least 1 billion from it. But let's see what they plan and what the price point comes out.
And we're also in the middle of the retail offering for the data company in Abu Dhabi. That started a few weeks ago. Alpha Data. That's going to go. That's already, the subscription opened, I think, 2-3 weeks ago. So we're expecting a price.
1.5 per share. It was announced today in the morning. So 1.5, and that's the high end. So everyone is going for the high end of the price. They're not going for the low end. And
it's great to see. People. I think capital markets play a key role in any economy, and it's great to see what's happening.
And just a few. Dubizzle is also going for an IPO property market.
In DFM, I think. We do think so.
DFM side is also active. So let's see, hopefully. I was at last day of Web Summit. I met with the regional head of Talabat. And I talked to him on the side about the IPO that happened. And I asked him, I was like, the money that you made, $1.5 billion, all went to Germany, right? And he looked at me weird and he said, kinda, there are parent companies, so we're trying to keep each other. But I was like, Talabat is more like, it's like 10 to 12 billion evaluation it has. Your delivery hero is not doing good. So you're earning money from here and sending it there to fund them. The point that you made once when we were talking about Talabat a lot. And he looked at me and he was like, where are you getting this information from? Or how did you come to this opinion? It's like, you guys published a report that it was giving back the debt that is on delivery.
4 billion in debt in Frankfurt stock
somehow
market.
I got a confirmation from him that, kind of it is like the case that the IPO, one of the reasons, not the primary reason to go for an IPO, but they wanted money to like pay the debt and all the services there.
I mean, their shares have sort of went up and down, and 3% up, 2% down. But these tech stocks on the stock market now, if you track them every day on DFM and ADX, they're actually moving more like tech stocks in the US. They're not as stagnant as we would see. A lot of the utility and real estate and banks have been on a bit of a surge for the last 18 months in the UAE. We often talk about Emaar properties, but interestingly, there was a bump yesterday for Etisalat, and usually they've been on a buying spree, but now, Majid, they've sold something.
So Khazna Data Centers is basically, I remember them from last year. They announced that they're building the biggest UAE data center in Ajman, and they're going to open it by the end of this year. Third or fourth quarter is their target. There I realized there is something called Khazna Data Center. It's a very old company. They started this in like 2015 and they've built 30 data centers. So even before this last like 4 or 5 years of AI and then everyone talking about data centers, they already were doing that. And then G42 acquired them. Mubadala was already investing in them.
So G42 just bought from Ian.
So Ian had a 40% stake, $2.2 billion they paid. $2 billion. For 40% of the stake. So now G42 is the majority stakeholder in Khazna Data Centers.
So and the share price of Ian jumped 3%.
Yeah, it went up to 17.18 from 16-ish. But I looked at the market, the whole market for like 4 or 5 years of Ian, and I found really something interesting. They were at 36 at some point in 2022. So they started around 10. In 2021, they jumped. There was a jump. I will have to go deeper to know why they jumped. And they went up to 36 dirhams per share. And now they're dealing at 17. So there's something going on with the end. If you look at historical data, 5 year, It's very interesting what is happening with the end.
Yeah, it's a hard one to really understand financially because obviously they're a utility. It's a there's 2 telcos with licenses in the UAE. They have spin-off sub-brands with SIMs, like Virgin and others. But basically, for a country of 10, 11 million people, to only have 2 telco licenses is a little bit unusual. And who knows, they might open up a 3rd license for international bidders. But even in Saudi, there's 3. There's Zain, there's Mobily, and there's STC. And in other parts of the world, other parts of the region, you have Vodafone and Orange and other players. But in the UAE, we have 2. But it's not as simple. And rebranded, and they're a data and tech company. And they started buying lots of companies, whether it's Stars Play or El Grocer or many others. Even Beehive, I think they bought the financial arm of the lending platform. So there's a lot of fintech going on there. There's entertainment. There's a lot of things going on there. And it's just so interesting. Like, obviously, the people involved there believed that because the data centers fit better under the G42 mandate than under the EAN mandate.
Yeah. And MGX is also a part of Khazna Data Centers. They've also bought a stake in it. They're a minority shareholder. So what for me is, again, we talk about it so a lot, all these companies, they just appeared like 3-4 years ago on the map. They were there, but they appeared on the map 3-4 years ago. G42, everyone started hearing about them. They have so many subsidiaries, Core 42, this. And then MGX randomly comes into play, 100 billion, investing in all OpenAI, XAI. It's very interesting to see that they're in every company somehow.
There needs smart people and journalists and business channels to make sense of all this, right, Majid? Which is amazing. And it's amazing, for you to have picked up all this stuff. But you're so right. And at all these conferences now, these over the next decade or so, these brands, MGX, G42, 2.0, these are all going to be the names that we will know about. IHC, the share price keeps growing, the amount of their assets keep growing, and Western media might have views on this or whatever, but actually the amount of value that's been created, the amount of wealth that's been created, like $3 billion to acquire data centers that are only 10 years old, yesterday. These are stories, like this is happening. We're no longer in a region. When I came here first, there were no data centers. Like, if you wanted cloud computing, you couldn't look to the region. And then Bahrain, and now in Saudi, and now here. So there's lots of options now. And, this is what made other markets faster, data, less risk of data breaches, and less cybersecurity risks when it's in the country. And I think that's what's happening, so it's fascinating. But it's good to get your head around it.
Just a final thought on data centers. If you get a chance, would you invest in a data center? Do you think it's a investable real estate? It's kind of like a real estate, right? You have a place, you have to put it up, you have to have a lot of energy to run it. Would you invest in it?
Potentially, yeah. I mean, what companies need data centers? Like a lot of the AI companies need data centers. But some of it, like I asked Amit Jain, the founder of Luma Labs, this question. He was saying they're raising another $400 million to make the language models for video faster. And I was kind of like, well, if you're spending that amount of money and you're making it faster, then how does the future look cheaper? Because the models get better and better. Yeah. And if the models get better and better, then do you need as much computing power and data centers in the future? Potentially, yes, as more and more gets used. I've already said it on the show, but they're talking about training compute power to train a model based on 7 billion videos. And then that's just one model, but there's many, many models. So I think, ultimately, those who are doing data centers realize that the whole world is going to be based on models in the future and a lot of computing power. And when we move towards AGI, artificial general intelligence, even more demand. Yeah. More demand. So,
and the energy demand will increase with it also. So we'll need more renewable options, solar panels, everything
show today or yesterday or one of the days they were talking about a Hatta Dam making electricity out of water and So there is need for everything.
Yeah.
Would I invest in data center? I probably should. It's probably not sexy enough for me, to be honest. I'd probably invest in the consumer side of what's used in the data center. You know, I was chatting to my friend about investing lately, and you know, crypto. Right? You often talk about your Bitcoin stuff and it's going down. It's a weird way to say it, but isn't half the fun watching the memes when the crypto's going down? Like, I shouldn't really say this, but like I put a little bit of money into the Trump meme coin after, and it's gone down. But I've had so much fun watching it tank.
To be honest, you look at the big crypto sites, Cointelegraph and all these guys. Even their news is completely packaged around memes now. Because they know the newer generation, which is investing is very bullish on the crypto market. They love that stuff.
Exciting.
So keep them engaged. They've made their whole interfaces, their GUIs based on our AI. Very cool stuff, or either memes.
We should do more memes on Smashi because there are meme accounts in the US on business, and they do really well. They meme the stock market, but it does make investing a little bit interesting. When it hurts your pocket and when it's a lot of money, no, and like obviously you don't want anyone to see anyone lose money. But even there's meme stocks like you know, the cinema ACMs, the meme stocks that go up as well. So like our Dogecoin or anything like that. So yeah, I find it sometimes entertaining. Like the crypto, I think on Smashi Crypto, I think we'll do a roundup of the memes the last few days.
We should do. The only thing that I want to add to the crypto thing, you remember last year in August, crypto went down to 37,000. And everyone was like, what is happening?
Was it down at 37? I thought it was 50 last year.
No, it went down to 37, historic low in the last 10 years. And then you saw it touched 100,000. Nearly last 4 or 5 years actually. Don't remember that much, but 37 was the figure that I remember exactly in August, because there was a very big crash, something happened. And then we saw it came back to 100. The good thing about it right now is it's under 90. It's not like at the 20, 30, 50 level. So even right now, it's buying season, not financial advice, but you go to any crypto investor and they'll be like, right now is the buying season.
Next week,
Did
you buy the dip? $60,000.
Warren Buffett says, buy the dip. I will most probably buy the dip. Thank you so much for joining us on the Smashi Business Show today. Thank you so much, Rich, for coming today. We'll be back tomorrow, Friday, for our last show of the week. Tomorrow there's Smashi Sports Show also happening. So tune in for that as well. That happens at 11 a.m. UAE time. Apart from that, we have 1.34 million listeners. Yesterday
1.5 million.
I saw the number. It rose to 1.5 million.
1.5 million on the Augustus Media Podcast Network. Do you listen to any of the other podcasts?
Love in Dubai, yes. Smashi Sports, obviously, yes. Other ones, I will add my bit to it. I'll start listening to them. At least passively, I will start listening to them.
They're all different. Like the Love in Cairo shows in Arabic, it's about 40 minutes. It's daily.
Love in Abu Dhabi sometimes also.
That's a weekly, like a 10-minute chat with two people. I listened to an interview we did with Dr. Mohammed Tahir from Gaza. He's an Iraqi-British doctor, but he did 7 months in Gaza, and he did 1,100 operations. It's a brilliant piece of content. It's an excellent interview. Casey did it, and you know, it's something like you would normally hear on like an international news outlet. Like, it's a really, really good interview, and that's on a Love and Meats podcast. But there's a lot of good shows. I really like this show when I'm not on it. I like when Word and You do it, and I like the Smashi Business newsletter. But English Arabic shows, there's about 35 of them, so go download them. If you just go on Apple and you are the Augustus Media website and you click /weareaugustus.com/podcast network, you'll see all the shows there.
So we're going on a short break. If my producer can go on a short break quickly, and then you'll listen to one of the interviews that we did with affiliates. You were there, right? The event yesterday.
Yes, I wasn't there, no.
No, you didn't go?
The World Affiliate Conference
World
is
Affiliate
taking place yesterday and today. Who's the interview with?
The interview is with a person. My producer is saying he wants to set it up, but Word did the interview. She gave me a brief.
So it's taking place in World Trade Center.
It's taking place in
World Trade Center. It's a global one, and it's actually really good. Like it's not just affiliate marketing. They talk a lot about Meta ads, Snapchat ads, TikTok ads, growth hacking, SEO. So it's really good. So stay tuned. We'll have an interview coming up in a few minutes.
Actually, yes. Thank you so much. Come back for the interview.
Welcome back to Smashi Business Show. Today we're joined by Tobias Cormand and Vadim Weining, the visionaries behind 77 Diamonds, a global jewelry empire crafting and selling bespoke diamond and gemstone engagement rings across 70 countries. Their journey is really special, and they're here today to share it with us. Thank you so much for making it here today. We're really happy to have you. So just to start, I want to speak to you guys about, your brand story. Can you tell us about the inspiration behind starting 77 Diamonds?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So Vadim has a much more interesting story because he's third generation from diamonds. But from my perspective, it was more from a technology, internet, e-commerce, and luxury kind of background. But we kind of came together because we identified that there was a gap in the market. If we looked at what was there at the origins of the company, which is almost 20 years old, there was the beginnings of kind of internet e-commerce around diamond jewelry. But you look at the experience, and it was high volume, lower quality. And then on the other hand, you've got quite a cold feeling with some of the big jewelry brands, the big luxury jewelry brands. So we felt that there was an opportunity to take the best of both of those. If you take the kind of the optionality and the better value from the internet, but you don't compromise on the customer experience, and you offer the quality and craftsmanship of the luxury jewelers, you combine them together, and it was quite revolutionary at the time, and bring that directly to customers. And I think that's one of the reasons why we've managed to be so successful, is we brought something quite unique, and we turned the whole model a little bit on its head. And us coming here to the amazing Dubai is all about bringing that model out to more customers. So I think we've already established ourselves as the leader in Europe, and we think now that the Middle East is very interesting and great potential. But for us, it's really like this made-to-order craftsmanship. Superior craftsmanship, but the choice that you can get and the transparency that you get from online.
But is there an emotional story behind why you guys started the brand?
Yeah, so I mean, first of all, we've known each other for over 20 years.
Wow.
And just to give a little bit of my background story as well, my grandfather was a member of the Bourse in Antwerp since the 1930s, used to be. My father worked in the industry as well, although they worked more on the polished side and then moved to the rough side. So they worked in different segments of the industry than what we're doing right now. And I think what's funny also is that Tobias came from he always loved jewelry, so I'm speaking for yourself.
No, please, it's fine.
But came from a finance/marketing background, and I came from purely a diamond background. And actually our interests really crossed because I really wanted to do something with the internet, which wasn't a given at the time because we're almost a diners or like a company for the internet age. We started 20 years ago, so we have heritage, and but we crossed in that I got a lot more interested on the marketing technological aspects, and Tobias really
on the craftsmanship.
On the craftsmanship.
Yeah. I also come from a Scandinavian background, so for me, the kind of the manufacturing, the quality of craftsmanship, the design are incredibly important elements. And so although transition from this kind of technology and marketing background, I've been fascinated by it. And I mean, there's nothing like jewelry, fine jewelry, and the way it's made. Still very much by hand. There's a limit to how far you can push the technology. In the end, it's master craftsmen. If you're going to have really good quality jewelry, it has to be finished, crafted by master craftsmen if you want that kind of quality. And so it's you combining like the old world and the new, and that's what makes it really exciting.
In the beginning, when your brand started, were you guys ever actually a part of the process of creating the diamonds themselves?
Yeah, so I mean, diamond creation is a whole nother territory. You can talk to that because Vadim's been as close to. I mean, the Earth creates diamonds, right? So unless it's synthetic diamonds, they were formed in the primordial stage of when the Earth was created, and the reason why we have them today is because they're brought up by volcanic eruptions and they're brought to the surface because we can't reach down deep enough into the earth of where the diamonds are actually formed. So do we actually create diamonds? I would say no, but we're definitely part of that. But you can talk talk a little bit about how close you've gotten to the formation of diamonds?
Yeah, so actually in my early days, I also partially grew up in South Africa. So with my father, I used to go to local diggings or mines, and it was quite exciting. Very often they used to, they'd have trays, and then they would put like the trays on a platform and go through, and it was almost like, I would liken it to like opening at the time, a pack of cards when it was a football World Cup, and you're looking for that special card in the packet, and it's the same thing. You're looking at diamonds, and you're hoping you're finding a fancy colored diamond or a larger white diamond, D color, etc. And so there was always that excitement factor, both for the digger and for us coming in to see. It wasn't always like that, but I'm just giving you an example of a snapshot of some of our experiences. So that was exciting. I also, at some point, because I went through the different stages. So I also polished diamonds for a while when I was much younger in my training.
Wow, so you were
so
really
rough
a
to
part
polish.
of the process.
Yeah.
Were you too?
No, not at all. I had some family connections into the diamond industry. For me, it was a much later stage. When I was in university, I used to go to the offices and look at diamonds and so on, but I was in finance. I came from a completely different background and transitioned to technology. But I was fascinated with diamonds, and I've always been fascinated with design. That's been really important. But I think I'm a later stage entrant into the whole diamond world, and it's incredible because it is when we started the business, it was really old school in the way it was very traditional, very old school, and really ripe for disruption to some extent as well. And part of the beauty of it is it's still very old school, both the making of the jewelry and the way the diamonds. There's a lot of trust still in the diamond world of how business is being done. The fact that I had some family connections and Vadim's entire background and family comes from that gave us really privileged access into what is a very closed world, and that gave us a much stronger helping hand.
You said you studied finance, right?
I studied law actually, but I worked in finance.
Okay.
I was in investment banking. Don't shoot me now.
Okay, I see. Actually, I study accounting and finance. So,
Oh well,
yeah, so I see what you mean.
This is the fundamental understanding of everything, right?
And what do you study?
Well, I studied business and psychology at Edinburgh University.
Oh, that explains a lot now. The
This
psychology
is
part.
really interesting. This is so interesting. It really tells you that what you study is not what you become.
No.
It really is
But
not
it
what
gives
you
you the
become.
building blocks, right?
Yeah.
It's, as much as the experience
with
of
you.
university and what you study as well. So you've ended up in a completely different space.
Yeah, journalism.
But you can ask much more pertinent questions, I think, then, because you understand. You can, kind of root through
You
where.
need that knowledge, you do. And you spoke about the design. So, we all can agree that quality and affordability, they don't always go hand in hand in the luxury sector. So how does 77 Diamonds manage to offer high quality diamonds at competitive prices?
Yeah, so our initial model was we wanted to be transparent, because we felt the industry, especially at that time, but still today, is not always as transparent as it should be. Like for instance, there's many retailers that still sell diamonds that are self-certificated. So they'll put, what they feel is the color / clarity of the diamond, and if you then buy those diamonds at face value and you send them to independent laboratories like the GIA, which is the most reputable lab out there, that they'll give you a gradient that's slightly different. That's usually going to be a few colors lower or a few clarity grades lower. And we wanted to actually empower the customer, make it very transparent. So we have a lot of, we're actually one of my first missions when we started the business, personal mission, but for the business, was to make sure we have one of the widest selections, if not the widest selection of diamonds, independently certificated diamonds worldwide.
Yeah.
And today our website is the largest selection of diamonds in the world, of freshly polished stock.
Wow.
And it's about the supply chain sourcing. What we've done is we looked at the traditional models and we peeled away a lot of the layers of cost that you would have. So for example, we're not committed to doing large retail shops where you hold huge stock. What we want is we want to be able to pass on savings to our customers in terms of like the diamond price fluctuations, currency fluctuations, and not push the agenda of the stock we have, and that's what we want them to buy. But instead, what we're doing is a just-in-time, made-to-order, and you can also get truly bespoke, or you pick from one of our designs. But we're acting as almost a guide for our consumers. which is a totally different experience than when you walk into a store, they want to sell you something that they have.
Yeah.
What we want is we want you to make, you the consumer, to make the right decision for you. And so we give you access to the entire global market of diamonds, and you can create something completely unique. You've got an idea in your head, you're buying it for yourself, you're buying it for a partner, and you know their style and so on. You can tailor something, and it's a much more personal gift. And there's room for more creativity. There's room for you to input more into the process, which is something that we, in the end, if you look at what fine jewelry is, a lot of the time, it's an emotional expression of how you feel, either about rewarding yourself or the connection with another person, right? And so you're expressing that in some kind of crystallized form, no pun intended.
It's a beautiful form.
Yeah, but it's something that the person will wear and they'll feel good about, and they'll, it strengthens the bond of connection to another person. And I think it represents something, momentous in a life, part of the life journey and so on. And that's, it's not that we don't want to overplay like the part that we play. It's a very small part in people's life journey, but just it's a privilege for us to be part of that journey and to help people express that, because I don't think we do that enough, right? With the people we care about, with the people we love, to express it basically. So I think we're a little part of that beautiful kind of tradition, and I think that really is what gets us up in the morning and kind of.
Oh, see, when I asked you guys, what's the emotional part behind your brand?
Oh, yeah, that's it.
It was so beautiful to hear that, because it's like, as a woman, I always told myself when like I reached a certain target or like certain aim, I would actually buy myself diamonds. No, seriously, that's what I told myself, and there was like this uncertainty of who do I go to, because there's a lot of people who sell diamonds. So my question to you is, what makes you guys stand out? Why are you different than other people? Why should I choose you?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a great question. I think it's very much about the reason, why we're here. Because I think we've built a business that wraps around the consumer and empowers the consumer, which is so different to a lot of other brands, okay? And with us, you can both get this amazing fine craftsmanship. You've got this enormous selection. We are totally dedicated to servicing customers. And I think it's extremely rare to find brands that combine all of those things. And usually people have an agenda and they're pushing in a direction and they're trying to move the consumer. And instead we take a step back and we go, what is it? What is best for the consumer? And then we've built around that, and we continually innovate and change the business to be able to be there. That's also why we've got now 11 locations. We've got 3 signed up, new ones as well coming up.
Congratulations.
We're very excited by that. But that's also about being where, Vadim spends a lot of time in the data and analyzing where our customers are, where they need us to be, and bridging the kind of, because, online gets you only so far, even though I think the online universe is incredible, what you can give the consumers. But being there physically, knowing that there is a physical place you can go to interact with somebody, to get that tailored solution, and it's more private. Let's say, here you've got the malls. Well, we're in the Almas Tower, so it's a much more privileged luxury experience, I think, than kind of, it's more anonymous and so on, and then you get that really one-to-one interaction where we can do anything, as opposed to maybe going to the Sheikh or going to.
If I can just add, we offer a very personalized experience. So you have the one-to-one element. You also have, even if you don't decide to come in our showroom to meet with one of our representatives, you can also just go on the website, and actually every piece you buy is bespoke, because you're selecting what you want. You're creating your piece. If you're buying an engagement ring, we also sell other types of jewelry, of course. But you can also create real bespoke jewelry. We have a team of very experienced bespoke designers, and everything is designed in-house.
Okay, and I want to speak to you about Dubai. You guys are here, so it's known for its luxury market, and I can see that 77 Diamonds. It's all about luxury. What motivated you guys to establish a presence here, and what can customers here expect from your showroom?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Do you want to talk about like the dynamics of why we would choose to go to Dubai?
Yeah, well, Dubai is very forward-thinking. You know, it's a very forward-thinking society. I mean, it's become incredible. You know what the Sheikh has built over the last decades. It's just unimaginable, right? And I think we're a very forward-thinking company. So
It's a good match.
it's a good match, yeah. We're also very technologically oriented, right? So we're multi-channel, and we've actually got a large IT team, although it doesn't maybe seem like it when people first think of a jewelry brand.
I didn't expect that. I won't lie to you guys.
Like-
I didn't expect that when you said data. I was like, wait.
20% of the companies are IT oriented.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot of things that are a work in progress. You know, I'm currently looking at how we can integrate AI, both on the website as well as in the background with data, etc. We're also looking at using augmented reality. So there's a lot of things on the go.
What kind
which
of
is
AI,
a good,
though?
Yeah, no, but we can talk about it. But
Yeah.
you were asking about the fit with Dubai, but you know the innovation and the forward thinking, you know that connection is really strong with Dubai.
Yeah.
Plus, I think we were looking at the data of people ordering, and we were seeing more and more customers actually ordering from us, even though we were not physically located here. And that made it obvious that this would be one of the next. And I think, you know, we see that the parts of the Middle East have really are starting to become a lot more forward-thinking. And I mean, Dubai is one of the places leading that way, but I think there are other countries as well. So we you know, Vadim loved it so much, he moved here. He's based here. But
You haven't.
I personally, no. I'm still in London.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do you plan to come here?
Who you know, you never know. I've been really impressed, but I like this, you know, for me, this is kind of my first proper visit. So yeah, no, so I'm still, you know, kind of, and Vadim has been talking and teaching me a lot, obviously, as well, and we've got some great staff here.
For how many years have you been here?
Well, I moved here in 22.
Oh, okay. So not that long.
Not that long, no. Although I had visited Dubai previous to that. And I was very impressed by you know, it's very forward thinking, a lot of entrepreneurs. You know, if you come here and you want to get things done, you want to achieve something in your life, you're going to meet a lot of like-minded people, as you know, I'm sure. There's a lot of opportunities still as well.
And when we think that the model for Dubai is our model, I think is bringing something really different. So you have the luxury brands, you know where to go. You have the mall experience. You have the is it souk? Is that the right word?
Souk, yeah, the gold.
The souk, you know, which is also again a different type of experience. And of course, there's lots of different types of customers. So it's, you know, brands are not going to be right for everybody. But I think for people who are looking for that kind of different luxury experience where they want to be more involved in the creative process.
And taken care of.
Yeah, no, that's a given. But yeah, absolutely. And really, you know, immersed in that kind of one-to-one luxury experience, then I think we can offer that. And it's something different and bigger choice, better pricing, you know, and really a luxury personalized kind of service is our angle.
I mean, Dubai is a luxury hub, right?
Yeah.
So that was also a natural fit. And then we're based in the Almas Tower, which actually I read that around 2008 was actually one of the tallest towers in Dubai at the time. It has although you don't really need that extra security in Dubai, because it's already so secure, but it's one of the most secure buildings in Dubai as well. And, you know, it's very exclusive.
Yeah.
And it houses the Dubai Diamond Exchange as well. So it's very relevant to our industry.
The perfect location.
Yeah.
What I have to ask you guys is that, you know, obviously, you know, in the century that we're living in now, people really care about sustainability. You know, it's a really big movement. How does 77 Diamonds ensure that, you know, that you maintain sustainability?
Yeah, no, sustainability and I think, you know, social responsibility are kind of all very key words. So, I mean, we're doing a range of things. So, first of all, we've been using recycled gold for a really long time, way before it became fashionable, because we thought it was the right thing to do. And we've looked at like different sourcing. For example, we don't carry Burmese rubies because we don't, you know, so I think from a geopolitical perspective, and we've other geopolitical areas, etc., when there's been conflicts in Africa and so on, we've been, you know, very careful about our sourcing. We make sure to always work with responsible sourced goods, basically. So that's been, you know, a very important part of it. And now some interesting dynamics are going on in the diamond industry as well in terms of origin of goods, where you can trace and track using a range of technology to be able to look at the original rough diamond, and then kind of it's cut through its cutting process. So blockchain technology is coming into the diamond industry, and we're at the forefront of trying to embrace that as well. And we've had people say, I want a Canadian diamond, I want a diamond from Botswana.
So specific.
Yeah, you can. You can even choose the mine.
Is there actually a difference between them, depending on the country that it comes from?
And generally speaking, yes. But of course, you can still find similar diamonds everywhere, at least in terms of cut grade, clarity, etc. But when you look at them in their rough form, a diamond expert will normally be able to tell where those diamonds came from.
In the rough, yeah.
But
once it's polished, you can't tell origin, which is different to gemstones. So gemstones, based on the inclusions inside the stone, you can actually tell, more or less work out with some extra equipment exactly where the stone would have been mined. With diamonds, it's much harder because I think the formation is much more even in terms of like how, very, very few times can you really tell where a diamond.
Yeah, you can make, once they're cut, you can make guesses, but it's and the more imperfect they are, the more you'll be able to make a guess, but it's going to be a guess.
It will be a guess.
I see. And you guys spoke about AI. I'm really curious.
Okay.
How are you embedding AI into your customer service and your business? Like very specifically, how is it actually going to help us customers shop with you?
Yeah, I'm going to start answering this question from the back end first.
Okay.
Because using AI with customer service is not something we've implemented yet, and it's still a bit.
That's not completely true, actually. We use it in the background for translational services and also a formulation of questions. Yeah. But I think, sorry, I interrupted you, but.
No,
but in terms of we very much believe in customer service, and we're very careful. And I think the usage of AI, first and foremost, the customer needs a great experience. And if there's anything that compromises on that, we won't implement it. So we won't compromise for the customer. But so we're very careful about using it to interact directly with the customer. But in the background, we're already using it to make our sales staff more efficient, basically. But go ahead.
No, I mean, on the front, since we started to talk about the front end, retail facing, we're also going to be looking at software that makes recommendations based on the customer's journey or the customer's previous purchases or which items goes with what or what they may, or what the follow-up items might be. There's a lot of things the algorithm is going to be picking up. They'll make the appropriate recommendations at the appropriate time.
And it's also going to save more time.
Of course.
It's going to save more time for you guys. And, for my next question, what's next for 77 Diamonds? Are there any upcoming announcements that you have that are really going to excite customers?
Yeah.
Ooh, you don't want to reveal that?
No. I mean, first of all, we have a geographic expansion. Which is great. I mean, we are more incrementalists. We don't believe in kind of big bang in a sense, because I think to build a really strong business, I would say that you need to constantly improve and tinker with. And these big leaps, sometimes are much more just for outward, PR, as opposed to. So we're in constant innovation mode. But I guess this year, announcement-wise, the only thing I would say is that we're going to take the largest step in geographic footprint expansion.
Okay.
So we've got quite a few countries coming through, and
Can you tell us one of them?
Yes, Paris, France. We're going to be based in.
France is perfect.
Yeah, and so we're going to the home of jewelry in Europe, which is Place Vendôme, which is where the finest jewelers are based. And I think it says something about the locations that we choose. We always choose very carefully something that's strongly aligned with the brand. So, for example, in Zurich, we're in Bahnhofstrasse. In London, we're in Mayfair. And it's really important for us to kind of connect with customers and understand that even if you're buying a relatively low-priced item, if you interact with us, you're coming into a luxury showroom in one of the best locations, because that's our ethos about how we craft our jewelry. and how we give a service to customers, basically. So it has to kind of percolate through the entire brand. It's very, very important, and so we choose these places, which is why we're here in Dubai.
They're perfect locations. They all scream luxury.
Yeah, that's the idea. And also, I mean, there was a little pause when you asked that question because actually there's so many things coming up. And,
all right. Okay.
I mean, just to give you another example, another one, but they're not necessarily always huge announcements, like Tobias said, they're all incremental. Another one is we're really focused on, even though our company name is 77 Diamonds, we're really focused now. This year is going to be the year of making sure we cater to our customers with the appropriate selection of gemstones as well, and incorporating that throughout the site seamlessly.
It's all about color.
So more selections. So people are going to be getting more selections.
Yeah, and more
that's
color.
Gonna be really exciting. Okay. And for my final question for you guys today, for someone looking to purchase their first piece of fine jewelry, whether it's an engagement ring or it's a special gift, what advice would you give them?
I mean, I think first of all, it depends on where they are in this stage of life, right? So we're known as a bridal jewelry company, but really, we offer all types of jewelry, gifts, earrings, bracelets, etc. We do everything, or parure, if somebody wants something really bespoke. But I think it really comes from, what they need at their stage of their life, And the event, is it a Valentine's gift? Is it a birthday gift? Is it a proposal? Because like you said from the beginning, for us, we don't have an agenda selling something to the customer. We want the customer to tell us what do they need, where are they, and we're going to help them and hold their hand to figure that out with them.
I would say first of all, there's like a budget, know your budget, know the type of person, what the quirky things about the person that you're buying for, if it's a gift, and try and keep that in mind when you're trying to pick the right item. And I would say that, don't overstretch yourself, from a budget perspective. Buy something within your comfort zone, because there's always going to be other opportunities, either to upgrade it. We have beautiful stories of customers coming, and they bought something small from us, and they were at a different stage of life, and then they come back and they're like, I want to upgrade, I want to celebrate that we've had these successes and achievements, which is just so lovely.
Yeah, it's almost like you grow old with them.
But if you do the right thing by your customers, they come back, right? So and that's we try and instill that in all of our staff as well. And we remind them of how important these purchases can be for people, and to make sure we try and get it right. We're not a perfect company. Sometimes we get it wrong, but we are very aware of ourselves, and we always are trying to improve. But I would say know the person, know the budget, and come with a bit of creativity. Put something of yourself into the purchase as well, and then it's more unique and it's more special.
Oh, that's really special to hear. Thank you so much for making it today, guys. Tobias
Thank you,
and Vadim, I loved hearing your perspectives, and thank you so much for watching, everyone. This is Smashi Business Show, a Smashi Business production under the Augustus Media Podcast Network. Make sure to follow our newsletter on Smashi TV, and see you tomorrow.